Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing some knots. I'm going to be doing some beginner knots. So some of the knots that I learned when I first started tree work, started learning to climb, and just sort of picked up from the get-go, and they help you with other knots as you go on. So that will be the knots I will show you today. Are going to be the bowline accompanied with a stopper knot. So that could be a barrel knot, a figure of 8 knot. You could use a Yosemite finish as well. And I will also show you how to tie the fisherman's knot, which is a good knot for a cinching. It's a cinching knot, so it will cinch onto a carabiner that you have on, say, your side strap or a rigging line, or whatever you want to use it for. So yeah, let's get into it. So up first I shall show you how to tie a bowline. A bowline is a nice easy climbing knot. You want to create a 6, so a nice loop. Get your tail of rope. Imagine this being a rabbit, so it's just come out of the hole, pop to the shops, gone back around the tree, and now it's gone. So it's essentially looking like that at the moment. Then the rabbits come home from the shops and then goes back home through the front door. So then you create your bowline. A nice climbing knot, nice and simple to tie. You can use this as a running bowline. You can use it. Yeah, it's one of the fundamentals of climbing, like the first sort of knot that I learned. But if you're going to climb with this knot, you want to make sure to have a stopper knot with it. So that can be a figure of 8 knot. So again, make a loop it around the back like so, and then this tail back through that loop, pull that tight, and then you have the bowline accompanied with a single figure of 8 knot. Alternatively, if you don't like that knot, you could use a barrel knot. So to tie a barrel knot, just make another loop, go under, over, under and over, and then pull those two ends tight. Dress and set your knots, because no one wants a naked knot. And there you have it. That's your barrel knot. That is never coming undone in any shape or form. And if you're not starting to undo, that barrel knot's not slipping through the bowline to come undone. So that is your bowline, your barrel knot, and then your figure of 8 knot. And to undo them, fairly straightforward. Just peel open the barrel, release the rope, put it through, done. And again, the bowline, turn it over, break the back here, and then you can feed your tail back out all the way, and the rabbit can retrace its steps. Those are so that is the bowline, barrel knot and figure of 8 knot. And now I shall show you how to tie the fisherman's knot. So we have the fisherman's knot. It's a good cinching knot for a carabiner, so good for your lanyard if you like to keep your carabiner stiff. What you want to be doing is creating a loop as such. Get your tail, wrap it around 2 times, but what you want to make sure is that you have a cross in your rope. Then your tail will come underneath, and then where it crosses, feed the tail through there, pull that nice and tight, and dress and set. And that is your your fisherman's knot. And if done correctly, you can tie it, you can make the knot smaller, you can make it bigger, but as it's loaded, that will cinch up tight, and the carabiner will, or whatever device or item you have in this knot, will cinch up tight to the knot. Clipped into the knot. As you pull that knot tight, it will cinch that carabiner in place, so it stays where it should be, stays orientated upright. And the more you load it, the stiffer this knot will get, and the more harder this carabiner shall get. You know, for rigging, it's not a good knot, because once you've heavily loaded it, trying to undo this knot is a nightmare, and you'll end up needing a hammer or something to break the sort of bindings of the fibers in the knot. And yeah, so to undo it, you just simply pull it apart how you would a barrel knot, and feed that bight through, and it comes undone just like that. So that was the fisherman's knot. So that was the 3 or 4 beginner knots, consisting of the bowline with 2 stopper knots, so the figure of 8 and the barrel knot, and also the fisherman's knot. So those were sort of the beginner ones. Those are the knots that I sort of first learned when I was doing true work, when I started. You know, I still use them here and there, but there's other knots that I prefer to use nowadays, such as like the circus bowline. With SRT, I rarely use those knots. Yeah, so if there's any other knots that people are interested in seeing, or want to learn how to tie, or see how I tie certain knots, then, you know, obviously leave them in the comments and I'll make a video on them. That'll be all for these sort of beginner knots, and I shall see you in the next one.